thanks so much for being here this morning. My name is Tara Sprague, and I'm the General Manager of Corporate Communications and Customer Service here at the City of Guelph. And we're here today for a very important announcement about further protecting Guelph's drinking water. And joining me today are Mayor Cam Guthrie, Keely Dedman, our Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Infrastructure Development and Enterprise Services, Jennifer Rose, the General Manager of our Environmental Services Department, and Wayne Gallagher, our Water Services Division Manager. Mayor Guthrie is going to start us off this morning with an announcement, followed by Keely and Jennifer providing some additional background information, and Wayne is here to assist with any technical questions about our water system. Following the program, we'll have time for questions with our panel, and I'll kindly ask you to hold your questions until that time. And then following that, we've got time for one-on-one interviews with all of our subject matter experts as well as the mayor. Copies of a news release will be sent out to our local media by email at the close of this briefing, and it will also be available in our newsroom at guelph.ca. And at this time, I'd like to invite Mayor Guthrie to the podium.
Great, thank you, Tara. Great, thank you very much, Tara, and thank you everyone for being here today. It is an important day and an important announcement that we have for the city, and so you've already mentioned some of the team here, and I just really want to reiterate that this is definitely a joint effort over the last several years. So Keely, Jennifer, Wayne, I just really want to start off by saying thank you for all the work, especially many years some of you have put into this issue. And so a big thank you from myself as the mayor and council, and really on behalf of the whole community. So thank you very much. I also want to acknowledge that we do have our MVP, Mike Schreiner, here in the room. Thank you for being here, Mike. And we also have Chris White, Mayor Chris White here as well. Thank you for being here. I do bring greetings on behalf of council as well, who is obviously given the direction to go in what we're going to be talking about today. So there's also other county and township officials here, and I just really want to thank everyone for being here today. So I'm here today to talk about the future of our drinking water. And I'm going to start by talking about where our drinking water comes from and why it's so very, very important for us to protect it. Guelph is a groundwater community, and we are one of the largest cities in Canada that relies almost entirely on groundwater for our drinking water. Groundwater comes from the rain or from the melting snow that seeps through the cracks deep into the ground. And that means that we depend on Mother Nature more than most. And we need to make sure that we're protecting the water. And I often hear from people in our city that feel exactly the same way. For many years, city staff have talked publicly about concerns that quarry operations could affect both the quality and the quantity of Guelph's drinking water. Now, during my time as mayor, city officials, provincial representatives, and the quarry owners have been working together through a mediator to find a way forward. And it has been a long road, but I am pleased to announce today that we have reached a potential solution with the Dolime Quarry operator. Now, under this proposal, the Dolime Quarry would be closed and the existing site revitalized into a new residential neighborhood. The site, which is currently part of the Guelph-Aramasa Township, would actually come into Guelph's municipal boundary. Now, most importantly, however, this proposal would give the city control of the water that the quarry uses now. That's an essential step for protecting our clean and safe drinking water supply. Now, I cannot emphasize enough how important this potential solution is for our city. This is about ensuring safe drinking water supply for generations to come. This proposed solution would take time to implement and includes a number of steps. Now, first, council needs to decide if this proposal makes sense for Guelph. And so before that happens, both council and city staff wanted to make sure that we were sharing this proposal with our community. So over the next 2 months, there will be a number of opportunities for people, both in person or online, to learn more and give us additional feedback. And we are calling this process, Our Community, Our Water. I encourage the community to come and take some time to learn about this proposed solution and to take advantage of the in-person opportunities to ask questions and to really understand this proposal. Our staff will capture, summarize all the feedback, and give it to us in a public report that City Council will receive in early 2020. This report, along with all the information about the water, the financial impacts, technical and planning aspects all around the proposed solution, will be considered by Council when making our final decision. So thank you very much. I'm honored to be here today as Mayor to make this announcement for the quality and quantity of our water. And at this time, I'll hand it back to Tara.
Thank you very much, Mayor Guthrie, for those remarks. And next, I'm going to invite Keely Dedman to the podium to speak about ways for residents to learn more and provide feedback about the proposal.
Thank you, Tara, and thanks to Mayor Guthrie for making that important announcement today. I want to echo the Mayor's comments in thanking City staff for working tirelessly behind the scenes to make today's announcement possible. I spent 20 years working in municipalities across the province, and from experience I can tell you that getting to this point is no easy task. The issue is complex and requires exploring solutions that address long-term needs. We've had to do a number of technical studies and evaluate several solutions. This all takes time. The steady march towards today really began back in the 1990s when city engineers and geologists discovered our community's water supply wells were drawing water from the same source as Dolime. Through this, we learned that quarry operations could limit how much water we could get from our wells in the future. Then in 2007, city staff discovered that quarrying activities at Dolime had reached the aquitard, a dense layer of rock that protects our groundwater. It's important to note that these quarrying activities were all legal and permitted. However, since then, the city has been working to address concerns about how quarry operations could affect our drinking water. This is a challenge that stretches across municipal boundaries, and I'd like to acknowledge the work done by our regional partners. Mayor Chris White from Guelph Township has been instrumental in getting us to this point, and I thank him for his work. Similarly, Warden Kelly Linton from Wellington County has been supportive throughout our journey. I'd also like to thank the CAOs at Guelph Township and Wellington County, Ian Roger and Scott Wilson. We've worked together with both Ian and Scott throughout the process, and we appreciate their input. Their teams also work closely with ours, and so a big thank you to them as well. As the Mayor said, the next step in this process is about hearing from you. Specifically, we want to know what Guelph residents feel the benefits and challenges of this proposal are for our community, and what additional considerations are important to them. Guelph.ca will be our online hub to learn more about the proposed quarry site revitalization, providing more in-depth information to help our community understand this proposal. From now until the end of November, we encourage our community to share their thoughts online or in person at one of our open houses or other information sessions happening this fall. Our first open house is happening here at City Hall on October 29th with an afternoon and evening session. The second open house will follow later in November, and our staff experts will be available to answer questions at both. We'll capture and summarize community feedback in a report which we'll share in early 2020 when City Council is expected to make a decision about whether or not to pursue the proposed solution. City Council will consider water, financial, technical, and planning aspects of the proposed solution in making its decision, along with our community values as identified through the community plan. We want to make sure as many people as possible in the community are aware of this proposal. With that in mind, city staff have prepared a short video, and I'm pleased to be able to give you a first look at it today. This video will be posted on our website and shared through our social media channels. I encourage you to watch it, share it with your audiences, with your friends and your family, and to provide your feedback online at guelph.ca or at one of our public events. Thank you and enjoy the video.
Here in Guelph, we're one of the largest cities in Canada, relying almost entirely on groundwater for our clean, safe drinking water. The water we drink comes from deep below the ground and is protected and filtered by a dense layer of rock known as the aquitard. Groundwater takes longer to replenish than water from rivers and lakes and is more vulnerable to overuse. With a population of over 130,000 people, Guelph's daily water use can reach almost 50 million liters. That's almost 170 million glasses of water every day. We need to protect our water. For years, the city has had concerns with how operations at the Dolime Quarry could affect our drinking water in the future. While the quarry has been an important part of Guelph's history, today we know that its activities can affect the aquitard. The quarry also uses a lot of high-quality water. We're considering a solution that would see quarry operations stop and the land become a part of the city of Guelph. The city would build a system to protect our water, and the quarry site would be revitalized into a new residential neighborhood. Guelph is growing, and we need to protect our most precious resource, our clean, safe drinking water. Learn more about the proposed solution at guelph.ca. It's our community, our water.
Keely, thanks very much for those remarks and for showing that video for the first time. The video, as Keely mentioned, is posted at guelph.ca, and a link to the video is included in the news release that we'll be issuing very shortly in case you'd like to share it with your readers and your viewers. Next, I'd like to invite Jennifer Rose to the podium to provide us with a briefing on the proposal.
Good morning. It's nice to see everyone here today. Thank you to Tara for that introduction and to Mayor Guthrie and Keely for your remarks earlier. I look after the Environmental Services Department here at the city, where we focus on protecting the environment. And one of the things that we do is provide clean, safe, and reliable drinking water to the citizens and businesses of Guelph. My team is always looking for new and innovative ways to deliver our services. And in water, this is everything from water conservation to improved infrastructure. My colleagues have been working for many years on this proposed solution that I'll be walking you through today to make it a possibility, and I'd like to thank them for that. So today, as I mentioned, I'm going to walk you through our proposal, and I would ask that you please leave your questions till the end, and as Tara mentioned, we will be happy to answer your questions of the panel. First, let me say that Guelph's water is safe to drink. We meet or do better than all of Ontario's drinking water regulations, which are some of the strictest in the world. As the Mayor mentioned, we are a groundwater community, and groundwater is a more limited resource than water which comes from lakes or rivers. And we're really proud of the fact that in Guelph, we use less water per person per day than anywhere in Ontario and Canada. The proposal I'll be walking you through today is about protecting our drinking water for the future. Guelph is growing. We have a master plan which looks at our water resources, a water supply master plan which looks at our water resources, identifies projects and prioritizes them to meet the needs of our growing city. The Dolime Quarry does use 11 million liters of water per day. This water is removed from the quarry and diverted into the Speed River. We could use that water in the future for our drinking water needs. The quarry also digs deep into the ground, and as you saw in the video, it can impact our aquitard. What we're concerned about is when the quarry fills with water, that the water could go through the aquitard and mix with our groundwater, possibly bringing bacteria into our groundwater. And we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we worked together to find this solution. We've worked with the quarry owners to find the solution I'm going to be talking about today. And as the mayor had mentioned, it involves closing the quarry, taking control of that water, and revitalizing the quarry into a neighborhood. This is an innovative approach that addresses Guelph's long-term drinking water needs. So how do we get there? First thing we need to do is move the Dolime lands, the quarry lands, into the city of Guelph. That means the jurisdiction for the quarry will move from Guelph-Hermosa Township into the city. The quarry lands would still be owned by the current quarry owners. Next, we have land use planning approvals, which we will need provincial support and city approvals. We will also need input from the community and other government agencies. We need to build a system to protect our drinking water. When I talked about that surface water mixing with groundwater, that's what that system would address for our future drinking water needs. And lastly, the quarry owners would start the process of development approvals for residential development. They would have to go through all of the regular development application process approvals that are needed through the city, and that would include public engagement as well as any other studies that are required through a normal development application process. So I'd like to close by echoing Mayor and Keely's remarks about getting involved in this conversation. We're really eager to hear from the community. We want to hear their thoughts about this proposal. We will have, or we do have information on our website, guelph.ca, on this proposal, and we will have a open house at the end of the month on October 29th, one in the afternoon and one in the evening, and another one later on in November. There's lots of opportunities for the citizens of Guelph and our community to provide input either online or in person. So please, we want the community to come out. We'd like to see you there as well at our open houses to ask those questions of our staff experts. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks very much, Jennifer. And thank you to all of our speakers and our guests for joining us here today at City Hall. I'm now going to open the floor to the media in the room who have questions for Keely, Jennifer, or Wayne. We have about 10 minutes for open questions, and I'd like to remind you that all of our speakers, including our mayor, is available for one-on-one interviews at the close of the question and answer period. So we'll go one by one just to ensure that everyone who wants to ask a question has the opportunity to do so. So go ahead, any questions at all from our members of the media? Tony?
Yeah. Under this proposal, when would the quarry close, and what's the timeline for converting these lands? Everything goes according to plan into the end use, residential.
So we're just at the start of that process. Right now, we're really looking at getting the community's engagement, getting their thoughts about our proposal moving forward. And we'll have a clear understanding of the timelines if council does approve this proposed solution.
So there is no timeline right now?
We don't have a timeline right now.
I'll just come out and say it. It's a blunt question, but what is Dolime and that company getting out of this deal? We get to protect the groundwater, obviously, very good, but they do get to keep ownership of the quarry, which means they do get to make profits out of the residential area. So what's the upside for them? What did we give up?
So this is obviously a very complex issue. We've been working very closely with the quarry owners on developing this solution, and as I mentioned, the city will get control over our drinking water, and the quarry owners can start the process of putting in a residential development.
What's the cost of annexing this property? Is there one to the city if you take over this piece of Guelph or Hermosa?
So at this time, there's no cost to the city for bringing those lands into the city of Guelph.
You mentioned a lot of the potential benefits of this particular proposal. What are some of the challenges of this particular proposal?
Again, as it was noted, this is a complex solution to a complex problem. And there would be many approval processes to go through to achieve this final solution. This is the very first step. We're looking for feedback from the community, and then the next steps would be for council to decide on whether or not to proceed. Following that, we would be seeking approvals from provincial agencies as well. Then following that, there would be a planning process to be followed.
So at this point, the challenges are more of an approval and a regulatory nature?
That's correct.
Is the owner of the property here today?
Yes, we do have representatives from the quarry here with us today.
Okay.
Keely, I'll let you, or Jennifer.
The property, the quarry owner, not operator.
There's a representative of the quarry owner just behind you there, Bob Bax.
Okay.
This has been in, talks and mediation for some time. How much has the city spent on this mediation process?
So to date, the city has spent $1.69 million on this process, which translates to about $140,000 a year. These funds have gone towards developing a water model, understanding how the groundwater interacts between the city and the quarry, and helping us also with those conversations we've been having with the quarry owners and coming up with this proposed solution.
Might be too early to say at this point, but as far as the residential development, when it does get built on there eventually, how many people are we talking about here?
So as you say, it is too early to say for that. The developer, the quarry owners would have to go through the normal development approvals process, and that would be part of that application process.
What kind of zoning would you be looking at for this property in the end, for residential? High density, the mix, or is that too early to say?
Again, it's too early in the process to say. It would have to go through the full development process, which would be a public process as well.
Has there been any engagement? I realize there's the broader public engagement to come, but there have been a lot of interested groups in the area, like Water Watchers and Stop the Quarry among them. Has there been any engagement with them so far, even if it's just on like a off-the-record kind of deal?
This process has been going through mediation, as you know, which is a confidential process. We will be meeting with Wellington Water Watchers later today because they are an interested stakeholder, as you mentioned.
What's the exact size of the property?
Any other questions at all for the panel before we move on to one-on-one interviews? Okay, we'll do that then. Thank you very much for those questions. And again, if you're interested, both the mayor and Keely, Jennifer, or Wayne are available for interviews. And certainly I can help coordinate those, and so can Laura in the back there. So thank you very much.